We can help you fly business class for free.
And that was it?
That was it.
Short elevator ride.
It was. And then I got hounded by someone who used to email me every week and say, it's not for free. You've got to pay taxes. So eventually I had to change my pitch. Not just to avoid that guy. It's more like, well, maybe the universe is telling me that saying business class for free isn't quite right. It's very, very, very cheap. It's the correct answer.
But how did you go from that then to go, I want to share this with everybody? Because we've interviewed you on the morning show. I've seen you plenty of times on TV. And every time my knee-jerk reaction is, why are you telling everybody about this? This should be your own secret that you can fly business and first all the time. Now you're going to have all these schmucks up there.
Well, I think it's such a good feeling because the fact that if you can move from flying economy to flying business class and experience the whole new world, it's a feeling that I want everyone to have because I've enjoyed it for 13 years straight. The fact that I never thought I'll ever fly business class, and I must say I have never paid for a business class ticket.
How do you come up with a concept like that where you're ultimately going to break through and make a difference?
I think you just got to try everything. So
Everything, yeah.
I like the idea is that when you're a small business, you get given rope to do wacky stuff. Whereas a big business, there's no way you could do that. So I still see myself as a small business. I just do all sorts of guerrilla marketing, random stuff, because I think people would forgive you. Yeah, well, I say I will do it for free, but I won't do it for free.
Yeah.
Because actually the reason is if you do it for free, there's no value to it.
Yeah.
So if you tell people, get this credit card, do this, they just won't do it. They'll be I'll just do it later. But if you charge people, they will do it because they want to get value for their money.
This Could Be So Good is a show about what it really means to build a business. It's proudly brought to you by The Pillars, a private members club located in Sydney CBD for innovators to connect, and the award-winning Ben Buckler Whiskey, because some of the best conversations happen over good whiskey.
Steve, welcome to our show. I am really pleased to have you on here. You're known as the Points Whisperer. I've been talking to Larry about what you do. He's got a lot of questions about his personal life that he wants to run through you. But before we get into that, I think we always ask all of our guests, first question. You obviously started this business, I don't know, what, 7-8 years ago, was it?
Oh,
or was
13.
Was it 13?
Yes.
Okay. When you were 13 years ago, walking out of Macquarie Bank, what was your elevator pitch when someone asked you what you were going to do?
We can help you fly business class for free.
And that was it?
That was it.
Short elevator ride.
It was. And then I got hounded by someone who used to email me every week and say, it's not for free. You've got to pay taxes. So eventually I had to change my pitch, not just to avoid that guy. It's more like, well, maybe the universe is telling me that saying business class for free isn't quite right. It's very, very, very cheap. It's the correct answer.
Okay.
So a lot of elevator pitches, you're not getting what's on the box, but with yours, it's all there. It's in those few words. You can fly business class for free, right?
Yes.
What was that initial response from people where they, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they're just curious. Like,
Yeah.
actually, it's not that they're curious. They're like, are you for real?
Yeah.
They don't believe you. So over time, I had to sort of like backpedal to offer something that's more realistic. But actually, you can fly for free, but people don't believe it first up. So you have to introduce. I think I made it more complicated.
So you made it more complicated for people to understand it.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wheel right back to, I'm sitting at work, Macquarie Bank, right?
Yeah.
Many years. What sector?
Finance and accounting.
Okay, so you're sitting there in Macquarie Bank thinking, God, I'd love to be my own boss. I know what I'll do. I'll get everyone to fly business class for free. How does that even come into your head? Like, where's that coming from?
It came from a journey because when I was in Macquarie, I was tasked to grow an outsourcing team in India. So they flew me business class for the first time. I remember it was Singapore A380.
Oh, nice.
It was the first A380 in the air. Singapore had it as a launch customer. I wasn't flying on the first flight, but I was flying on one of the first, A380. And I remember when I boarded, upstairs, sir, I'll take your jacket. And I thought, am I going to see this jacket ever again? And that was the first business class ever. And I was hooked because it's so different to flying economy. Business class is the way travel should be.
But how did you go from that then to go, I want to share this with everybody? Because we've interviewed you on the morning show. I've seen you plenty of times on TV. And every time my knee-jerk reaction is, why are you telling everybody about this? This should be your own secret that you can fly business and first all the time. Now you're going to have all these schmucks up there.
Well, I think it's such a good feeling because the fact that if you can move from flying economy to flying business class and experience the whole new world, it's a feeling that I want everyone to have because I've enjoyed it for 13 years straight. The fact that I never thought I'll ever fly business class. And I must say, I have never paid for a business class ticket. Every single ticket has all been on points. That feeling that you never have to pay full price again and you can fly business class for fractions of the price of the guy behind you, it's a thrill that I want everyone.
So in 13 years, you've never paid for a business class flight?
And
does everyone else know that already?
I don't know if they know, but why would you pay?
How hard is it to describe to people actually what they need to do? They obviously need the points, firstly, right? So where are these points going to come from for an average person out there who hasn't worked at CommBank, doesn't work in business per se?
Well, credit cards is the main source of points. And the thing about credit cards, people have these preconceived ideas about credit cards. The general idea is that credit cards are bad. But I grew up, I guess, my mind is very logical, numbers. I was an accountant. A credit card to me is just another payment mechanism. Just because you can spend $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever your limit is, doesn't mean you should or you would. Yeah. So for me, it was just like a debit card. But to a lot of people, they see credit card, go, oh, no, I don't want a credit card. But the credit card is the only way to earn a lot of points, reliable, because it's all about the merchant fee.
But how did you, I still haven't, you need to go back. I'm still confused. I want to know how you got there. So you flew business class. You're like, I want to give everybody this. You didn't just think, I want this on my own. I'm not going to let anyone else have it, which is what Larry was thinking.
So very selfish. Very selfish.
We'll talk about Larry's personal situation and his flying in a minute because I think there's a story there as well. But so you think, okay, I want to help everybody do this. One, that's an unusual thought. Most people would have just got straight on the champagne and the caviar and enjoyed it. But you're thinking, no, I want to bring this to the world. Saying that, as is the title of this show, this could be so good. How do you go from that to creating a business? Like, how does that happen?
I just have this abundance mindset that, say right now we're recording this podcast, but there are empty business class seats. Somebody should be enjoying them. Why is the seat flying empty? Because someone missed out. Someone didn't use their points. But how this whole story came about was because I was flying to India a lot. I was collecting frequent flyer points on the back of all my business class flights. And soon I realized I had enough points for my own business class flight, my own self-funded business class flight on points. That's when I realized, hey, if I just get more of these points, I've got more free flights. And that's when my mind thought about how do you create more frequent flyer points for myself?
And what was the seed of the business model? How do you sit up the front there and go, I'm going to turn this into, I'm going to do a startup thing. I'm going to make this a thing.
Yep. So first up, there was a way you could buy points. So back then, the Aussie US dollar was about parity, 1-to-1.
That was a good time.
It was a really good time. But
you're going to be all right, mate?
No, it's okay. I'm okay.
I can see your migraine coming on.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, you never fully capitalize on it, but a lot of some American-based airlines were selling points, and you could buy enough points to buy $5,000 worth to fly first class around the world. Wow. So you'll buy these points. So what I do, the first stage of the business was to help people buy these points and then book them first class. And I used to charge them probably about $3,000 fee to book a first class ticket where they will save at least $12,000 versus buying one.
Right. So
then I started working out, actually, I can charge people a fee for doing this.
So I used your service then. I think I've told you this before when we met once, that there was, I think she still works for you. Is it Desiree?
Desiree, yes.
So we booked flights somewhere and she bought us extra points to upgrade us to business, and you sent us an invoice and it was 1/10 of what the invoice would have been. And I thought, this is the best thing in the world. And we used it a few times. I'm not quite sure why we stopped using it, but we did use it a few times. And that's very different to your business model now, right? And but I'm interested as well. And I don't know how we found out about you. Maybe it was Sunrise. I don't know. But how did you get that message out? Because like you said, it's not an easy thing to get people to believe. And any kind of consumer business, you know, getting consumers to use your product is usually expensive because there's so much noise and other things out there. So how did you do that?
I just got lucky, really
Good
lucky. So what happened was the first marketing thing I had, I created these tickets with a little rip-off bit, just like a normal air ticket, where I had my details. So I printed them, and I was having dinner with my friends in Felix Bar. And I thought, oh, well, I've got these new tickets. Let me just give it out to like, other people at the bar. And there's this group of ladies like having a girls' night out. I gave them my flyer. They probably thought I was picking them up. But her husband worked at news.com, and he was in innovation. He gave it to someone in the lift who was a journalist. And I got my first article in news.com pretty much the week after.
That's cool.
And after that, once I got that article, I was on Sky News, on magazines, radio, and repeat. So from that one fateful moment, I got my media.
That wasn't luck. That's clever, man. That's clever. We got startup people listening to this now going, that's the sort of break I need to somehow manufacture. That's clever.
But I agree, it wasn't luck. You did something, right? You took an action, right? Whatever that action is, you took an action. It was slightly different to everyone else. You were willing to go into a public scenario and you know, what could have ended up being a lot of abuse for handing out tickets, you could have got thrown out the bar. Ended up being the best decision you ever made. You're right, Larry. That is not luck. That is the willingness to put yourself out there and do something very, very different.
And I think at that time, I don't know if I would do it now. That's a different thing. I probably think I might be a bit embarrassed now, but back then I had just finished my corporate career.
So you'd resigned by then?
I actually got a voluntary redundancy out of that after 11 years at Macquarie Bank.
See how much he smiled when he said that?
Yeah. So what's the message then for people who are looking at their startup plan and going, okay, do I have to go and approach drunk women at a bar? Is that – because I got tasered last time I did that. But, how do you come up with a concept like that where you're ultimately going to break through and make a difference?
I think you just got to try everything. So
everything, yeah.
I like the idea is that when you're a small business, you get given rope to do wacky stuff. Whereas a big business, there's no way you could do that. So I still see myself as a small business. I just do all sorts of guerrilla marketing, random stuff, because I think – people will forgive you. Oh, no, that's just one guy's just trying to grow his business. So if he offends you, you let him go. But if you're a big business, you'd be like, oh, no, you can't do that.
Hey, Steve, that's really interesting too, isn't it? And we've spoken about this with the whiskey business too. Because it's new, we're nimble. There's just a couple of us and I'm bootstrapping it. So, yeah, I can give you a case for this event and all that sort of stuff. Whereas if you were dealing with a bigger company, you got to go through the marketing steps and all this sort of thing. So there's something about being young and nimble and malleable and being able to answer questions to the marketplace quickly.
I like the young thing, by the way. I think this to me is one of the most fascinating topics in Australia since I moved here 26 years ago, and I still don't understand it. The whole tall poppy thing that exists here, right? Which comes and goes, and people say it exists, it's going, it's coming back, it's going, it's coming back. When you're starting out in anything, and I found this when I started my businesses here, and I probably wouldn't have been as successul in the UK as I have been here, people are much, much more willing to give you a go at the beginning. Everyone's willing to give you a go. Everyone's like they said, they've huge amounts of forgiveness when you're just having a crack.
Yeah.
But as soon as you have any success, all they want to do is pull you back down again. What is with that? Have you had any of that come to you? Because iFLYflat, it's quite well known now, I would say. I would think, obviously, you did the media rounds. It's a much bigger business. Have you found that forgiveness, even though you are a small business, has waned a little, even though you're not quite a big business yet?
I still feel like I'm a small business. I still feel like I'm a startup, even though after 13 years as well, too old to be a startup. But I think I've done a lot of goodwill. I've helped a lot of people use their points. And it's one of those jobs where I'll do it for free. If I could find another way to fund myself, I'll just help everyone fly business class. Because that feeling is the real unique feeling where you help someone who runs a business, works hard, they never, ever thought they'll ever fly business class. But you help them with turning their business expenses into points. And they are so grateful that happened.
Is that rare to have so much heart on the line in a business?
Not at all.
And or how important is that to keep the dream alive?
I don't think that's rare I think that's what makes startups work.
That you want to be able to help people.
I think it's not always help people as directly as that. They want to put something out into the world because they believe it is going to make the world better, rather than necessarily help people in some way. But I guess that's always helping people. I think every single founder who has the willingness to put themselves out there, to take the risks, has to kind of have that in them. I mean, what about you? So you've obviously started this whiskey business, like you said, slightly by accident, as we've talked about in previous. And you may well find also that tall poppy thing comes back to bite you as well as you have more success. But you did it to help people to start with, in a funny way. In a funny way. You're a funny guy, so it makes sense. But no, I mean,
you mean in a weird way.
But you didn't do it for personal gain.
No, absolutely not. My whiskey business, I started because I just wanted to make some whiskey for my birthday for my mates, but it wasn't because I wanted to help civilization like you.
Well, I think whiskey helps civilization.
I believe that's true.
So I think most successful founders are doing something for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, and actually, I think if you ask most founders who've had a level of success, would they do it for free? I think most of them would say yes.
It's really interesting.
I never considered that before. It's really good, and I've never had anyone say that to me before. But now you said it, I would imagine that heaps of people do.
Yeah, because I think we want to get our idea to see the light of day and see the benefits that it was being created for. And a lot of the time, you spend so much time doing sales and marketing to convince someone. Like, the reason why we don't work with large companies, we only work with small, medium-sized companies, because you can speak to the owner and get a decision fast. Large companies are going to have meetings after meetings after meetings. I just think after all these meetings, I could just gave you the answer. Why are we still talking about it? I could have just gave you the result. I could have gave you the strategy by now. And we still haven't even got to the starting point.
So there must have been some shocking times as well. So there's a little thing around called COVID and the world stops.
Yep.
What happens to a travel business then?
It stops. Well, actually, we go into reverse mode, because all the flights that we had booked up to that point, all the frequent flyer flights that we had so painstakingly find, we had to go and cancel them all. So every single cancel. The good thing about points tickets is when you cancel, you get your points and taxes back. But for a lot of cash tickets, you had to fight tooth and nail to get a refund back. With points, there's part of the rules and conditions, cancellations get your points and taxes back. So you basically had to go cancel all those tickets and then send all the refunds back and make sure that people got their points and taxes back properly.
But the business stuff aside, are you looking at your little baby business or your little baby that is your business and going, I'm screwed here. This is the end? Was there ever that for you?
I always knew that travel will come back in some form. It's a question of when.
I didn't. I actually remember sitting there wondering if I'd ever eat in a restaurant again, let alone travel. It's amazing you had that.
I did, because we still wanted to keep people earning points. And they all kept saying, well, I'm not flying anymore. Why do I want points? Yeah, but I'm thinking, you still want money. You're not spending money today. For me, points was just another accumulation. It's like everyone was collecting toilet paper, but surely you didn't need that many rolls. It just didn't make sense.
Could you get toilet paper and points? I bet you could.
I bet some people would have swapped it for sure.
There must have been some, 13 years, right? It's a long time. There must have been some moments where you, and maybe there weren't, maybe I'm wrong, but there must have been some moments where you thought, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Even though now you say you do it for free, there's ups and downs, right? There's got to be something. Yeah. Tell us about something that was just absolutely dreadful.
It is. So the COVID thing, I treat it like a long service leave, basically. I treat it like it had been about 8 years then. And I thought, well, 10 years long service leave. It's like I pulled my long service leave in advance. So that was the COVID bit. What's dreadful is, so for us, our main service is finding flights for people. So people say, I've got X number of points. And then we spend all our time looking at all the different methods or different airlines or different combinations. We find these flights for people. And then they say, I changed my mind. Like, what? I went and dug this 50-meter hole for you and you don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Or went and caught this fish, the one fish in the whole harbour, and you change your mind. It's like, maybe you should have decided before we started work about all this. So that's the most painful.
And what did you do about that?
There's sort of nothing you can do, because the two things that happens, you don't know if they change their mind because it's a genuine change of mind or they can't go, or they've actually taken your flight information and said, I'll book it myself. That's probably
So you
the most
operate very
painful.
much like a travel agent, right? In terms of that respect, it's not just about. And is it more complicated than that? Around, like you said, you look at all the different methods. So I'm guessing you get points on credit cards, sure, but you also get points when you fly airlines. So if you've got someone who's got points in United and Qantas and Singapore and Qatar, and they've got points on that credit card and points on that credit card,
Yeah.
you kind of have this wizardry, right? I haven't really used your service for ages, but tell me, is that, my wife always did it as well, so I don't really know. But is that how it worked?
So we can't combine them, but we know that certain points can be booked in different ways. So sort of like mutually exclusive. For example, if you got Virgin points, they could be used to fly on United Airlines because United is a partner.
Yep.
And if you got the actual United points, then you can book on United as well. So there's different ways you can combine them, but they can't just be added up, combined.
You can't transfer them?
You can't transfer them. And that's where the complexity comes. But then that's what I loved. It's like this puzzle. So it's like this 1,000-piece puzzle. You're just like putting these bits together. And then you eventually find a flight. And the customer's like, what the hell? How? That's what we do.
That's the secret sauce here, that you actually enjoy this process. Where I've been looking at flights lately with all these points and going, this is a pain in the ass. This is an absolute pain in the ass.
So I think we should talk about your flight situation.
No, not at all. But I think, but you're right. Like I've got some points here and some points there and this and that. But there's no way in the world I could put them all together. So I go path of least resistance and just jump on a Webjet book, right?
Yeah. Which is the lowest value, unfortunately.
Lowest value, but that's what a lot of people would do, right?
Yeah.
But
So
the fact that you enjoy putting that puzzle together.
I think it is the puzzle because my mind's logical, rational, maths and finance. It's about this combination. So I guess my personality is like, if you could do it yourself and you ask me to do it, I'm like, just Google it yourself. Like the answer's there. Yeah. But if you can't do it, then I'm very happy to figure it out for you because I get to showcase magic in a way.
When you started the business, day one, because all startup people, I guess, go, where's this going to be in 5 years or 10 years? Did you have a map to where you would be now? Not sitting here with us, but a map to where this business would be now. And let's take COVID out of the picture. I know it's an important piece of the puzzle. But taking that out, is the business what you thought it would be?
I think definitely. I think my profile is much bigger than I expected it to be because who would have knew someone who books points flights has sort of like profile like me. But I think what I first started with, and I remember I had some old documents where I was going to book flights for people for $50. So $50, I'll book a flight for you, $50, I'll book a flight for you. And it seemed so easy. And then I started working and it was way, way harder. Right. Because when you book a flight for yourself, you're like, yeah, this will do, this is good. Because you can make a decision. When you book flights for other people, they go, I don't like this one. It's a really
not worth
flight.
your time. Yeah.
And then you have to spend a lot of time just talking about it. So therefore, our price went from $50 to $300. Now it's like $1,900. Imagine that, from $50 to $1,900 is our price point.
For you to put these things together.
Yeah, and book a flight for them. Because I very quickly realised how much we were saving them. So we were saving them, $50, basically, they were basically saving $15,000. But even at $2,000, we're still saving them $12,000. So that's a huge savings that we give the customer.
Were you worried that your bits of your database would peel off at that point when you went from 50 to 200 to 500 to 1,000 to 1,900? That's a big climb.
Every time you increase the price, you're a bit scared that things happen. But every time I increase the price, nothing happened.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You should keep doing it. No, you shouldn't. Not until I book some flights. But you should, that's really, nothing. Like really, I mean, that's interesting. I guess it's such a complicated puzzle, like you said, and people hate booking. I know I do. I think I don't know if you enjoy it or not, but I don't. Do you enjoy it? No. I don't think anyone enjoys booking anything to do with holidays. It's just painful. You just want to be able to, I want to go there this time and I don't want to pay this much, and someone sort it out for you, right? So you're really removing what is a huge pain point. Have you learned along the way what you're good at personally? I don't know how many people you've got working with you now, but you said your numbers, you like puzzles, but you're also dealing with people and changing minds. And I imagine some pretty, what's the right word? High expectation individuals who might assume that
You looked at me sideways.
I didn't look at you at all.
You looked at me.
No.
It's tall poppy syndrome. It's starting.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, there are some people that can be challenging in the, particularly when you work with them. No, seriously. Have you had scenarios like that? And when did you sort of work out what you were good at, and how did you go about, solving that problem, which is a puzzle in itself?
Yeah. So I had people. So I grew my team part-time, then full-time, part-time. So because as you grow, you don't know you get. So I start people part-time, then full-time. And I've got some people working with me that's been 10 years working with me. So,
10 years they've worked for you, same people?
Yeah. So I've been in operation for 13 years and the same people have been working with for 10 years. So I haven't had much staff changes.
Yeah.
Because I give them a lot of flexibility. They can work whenever they want. They pick their hours, they service the customer. But one thing I did notice that what I'm good at is actually booking flights is not actually my forte. Booking flights, because I don't like the whole back and forth. We found you this flight, oh no, I don't like it.
With the customer?
With the customer. Yeah. So I like to just set processes up. So therefore, as the team goes down the process, that we give a consistent level of service to everyone. But I also ultimately feel like if I'm the business owner, if someone is a big AH, I just say, well, we just don't serve you anymore.
An AH, I love that. It's cool. We should spell all the rude words on this show. I think that's a great idea. Sorry, when they're a big AH, you what? So I'm completely distracted because I'm childish. Say that again.
One day AH, we just don't work with them. We say, well, sorry, maybe you're the type of person that needs to pay full price to fly.
Yeah.
Your passion for this it seems to me to be so unique, right? And because you're heartfelt and you're driven because you want people to experience this. How important is that skill set drifts down all of your team members? Because that's really unique. When I hear you talk about that, going, I wanted to do this because I wanted everyone to have the chance to fly business class. Do the people who are working on your team also feel that way?
Yeah, because we sort of drift a culture that the most important is helping people who can't fly business class or won't fly business class. We help a lot of people that can afford business class, but no one wants to pay for it to fly on points. So we always, I guess, good or bad, always tend to help more than not help people.
So they share your passion for solving problems.
Yeah. So even though they may not fly business class very often because they might not have many points, but they get the feedback when the customer. So after we book a flight for them, the customer's so happy. Oh my God, we fly in business class. Never thought we could. So they feel that, they can see it, and we share the winnings as well across the team whenever we have some good examples to share.
You must have quite a few of the other. So how many examples? Give us some examples of some AHs, who perhaps have called up, maybe their flight was delayed. I imagine they would blame you for that. There are certain people out there who would. Or their friend got it slightly cheap. Have you had there would be some interesting stories. Give us a couple of those. I want to hear some of these.
Some of them was where we booked found Emirates business class, but it was a 6 a.m. departure. Customer didn't want to wake up too early, so was happy to pay and buy a full price ticket at 10 a.m. departure. It's only 4 hours difference. One was on points that we could have saved her 10,000.
And put the seat back and go to sleep when you're on the plane. Right?
Yeah. So you think, oh no, sorry, I can't serve you anymore because
you're an idiot.
We can't find you. Yeah, exactly.
You're an AH.
What about the industry on a wider scale? Have you been any pushback or resentment or obstacles that you've had to hit at an industry level?
It's one of those weird things because points is off to the side. It is something that most travel agents don't want to deal with because it's such painful to find these seats. So we're off to the side and we sort of like this funny niche business where we are part of the travel industry, but we are not part of the travel industry because we're not booking cash tickets for money. Or we're providing a fee for service in a way, but turning this weird, bizarre points where most people don't think there's any value in them.
What a nice place to be, right?
And you
just running on your own track.
It is completely, and that's why one of the hard things about the business is we can't say that we do same as this company or this. We do the same as what we do. We're the only company that does.
You're still the only company. No one else has done it.
We have a few other people on Instagram and Facebook. They do bits and bobs.
Yeah, but they're not real. No one's real on that platform. Literally no one. What about the airlines? Did anyone at the airline suddenly go, hold on a minute, because I don't know whether, I actually have no idea. You may be able to tell us. Is it a good deal for them? I mean, I would imagine it must be. They must do good deals with the credit card companies, right?
Yeah. So the way how frequent flyers, you would have heard that frequent flyer is the most profitable part of the airline.
Usually, and it's usually a separate sort of side business, isn't it? It's often...
Yeah. So an airline's value is largely its frequent flyer program value. Yeah. So especially in America during COVID, they did a lot of funding or borrowings on the back of the frequent flyer program.
Is that right?
Such that, I can't remember which airline, one of the airlines borrowed so much money on the back of the frequent flyer program that in terms of the market valuation, the airline itself was negative. So the fact that they could access so much capital, because the frequent flyer program is the money-making machine. So how they make money is the frequent flyer program sell points to their partners, whereas Amex, ANZ, or Woolworths, and then they give them to you, the consumer, to attract you to do business with them. So they sell the points for, say, 1 or 2 cents. It gets passed to you, and then if you choose to redeem them for low-value things like gift cards at half a cent, then the airline has made money. Thanks very much. So that method works, but they also want aspiration. So people to keep collecting these points for this future flight, hopefully business class or could be economy. So they basically, it's like a pyramid scheme in a way, where if everyone got only the top value, then the system, what company can't fund it. So therefore, but a lot of people get value along the way. Some people love gift cards, some people want a coffee machine, some people want economy redemptions, all different stuff.
Do sometimes people feel a bit like they've been scammed as well? I remember one time with a certain bank, I feel like I had like 700,000 points. And I said to my wife, we're going around the world first class. And I was like, I could get an economy fare to Melbourne one way. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no, the dollar value to the point value. I felt like a millionaire, but it was not much in it. I felt like scam's not the word, but it felt a little bit out of balance.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Scam's not the word, because the ability for you to use that $700,000 for something really valuable was also on the table. It's just that you didn't know about it. You didn't know how to access it. Yeah. So it's not like they are deliberately stopping you from getting value. But for some reason, the Australian market, people don't look into it. So you don't think about your points like money. So you go, I just got these points, whatever. Yeah. But if you thought about points as money, you will look into how do I maximize the value of this and how do I get more of it on repeat. That's how I think of it. Points is money. Points is way easier to get than money, because you can get points by paying bills.
What about the merchant fees? This is one I never understood. I had friends who were building a house and they were buying every single thing on the Amex card to get points, and they travel a lot on these points. But then I thought, well, is it 1.5% every time you tap? But you still saying that works out okay still? Yeah. Still works out.
So I can explain that. So for example, if they're paying 1.5% per point, the same points worth about 4 cents when you use them to fly business class. So they basically turn 1.5 cents into 4 cents in that example. Yeah.
There you go. I'm like you. I always felt like just really disappointed. I hate going on those rewards things and looking at it and you go, how can a candle be 50,000 points? It doesn't make any. I just spent $50,000 to get a candle.
I thought I was going to New York.
Yeah, it just doesn't understand. I don't understand it. I don't even buy candles. Why am I even looking at it?
I mean, you do now. You got some beautiful candles in your place.
So, I mean, what's next for you? Like, you've obviously, you built this business. You said you're in a position very enviable where you said you'd do it for free, and I really loved the fact you said that. What's happening now?
Yeah, well, I'll say I will do it for free, but I won't do it for free. Because actually the reason is if you do it for free, there's no value to it. Yeah. So if you tell people, get this credit card, do this, they just won't do it. They'll be like, I'll do it later. I'll just do it later. But if you charge people, they will do it because they want to get value for their money. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I went to a charging model, because I've got friends from high school that don't use credit cards to fly, even though I'm a real life example.
And you could help them.
I help them. They don't care. They don't want to do it. So it doesn't matter how you help them. They just don't want to play. So that's why I feel like the reason why I charge people is a self-selection. Someone wants to do something, you charge them money, and they will take the actions you recommend to get value for the money, which then gets value overall. But if it was free, they wouldn't do it.
Is that an important message, big picture, for anyone starting up a business going, I have to undercut the market, I have to be cheaper, as opposed to a proposition like that where you go, people respond better if they've got to dig a little deeper for it?
I've learned this lesson. I still keep making this mistake. I do lots of things for free. I should really stop. But it's been shown in like all sorts of things. Like take exercise classes. If you don't charge people for, let's say they're part of a sports club of some form, right? And they're paying a membership fee, whether it be Fitness First or whatever. If their classes are free, they won't show up. They don't see any value in it.
Yeah.
And look, you're seeing it with restaurants now. You had a booking at a restaurant, and if you don't show up, they lose the revenue because they've kept that table for you. Now you have to pay. And I think you're completely right. If you're not charging someone for something, they value it really low. And you're trying to give it to them free to show them your value, and you're actually doing completely the opposite. And I think the world's finally picking up on that. Not that there was a lot of free stuff, but yeah, you're right. We got to stop. We've all got to stop doing free stuff. We've got to charge for everything.
Charge something, even just a nominal fee.
We are charging you for this podcast as well. You're not aware of that.
It's on the account.
That's definitely coming.
But you can pay in points.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Just get me a candle. That's all I need.
There's more than candles. We'll get you a candle. But you asked me a question about what next. So we have this thing called a flights club, where this is the same idea about charging people. So we used to offer a service that for people to bring their own points who will book flights, and we still do. And we used to offer a service where we'll offer people advice to earn points. And what happened is we help people earn these points, but for some reason they wouldn't come to our flight booking service. So they'll try and do it themselves. And then a few years later you go, hey Bob, how's it going? Oh, well, I just used 1 million points to go, here you go. Go where for 1 million points? But I showed you that you can fly 4 business class flights return for 1 million points. But you just went to Hamilton Island for 1 million points? No. We got to sort this out. So that's why I started the Flights Club. We basically offers both services just to prevent people from just
combining the two.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses now looking at what's coming down the road with AI and thinking we're a bit screwed here. How does that affect your business and people being able to access all this different information remotely?
Yeah, I don't think it's the information that's the problem, because all the frequent flyer information is all out there. That was all on the airlines' websites, all on the blogs, all on the forums. So everything I do there's no secret. It's just the fact that people just won't do it.
Yeah.
They just won't take the time to read it. They just want things done for them.
Do you think AI will do it for people? Do you think, are you using AI? Is someone going to build another AI tool? Does that trouble you?
No, I think it's just about, I think it like coffee shops. Why are there sometimes coffee shops next to coffee shops? They sell coffee, but each one sells coffee to their own tribe. They might have a different type of attitude. They might have different culture, the taste, I think, for coffee. And my taste makes no difference. But so that's how I see my services. I'm just another coffee shop. Just come in if we match your style. And we have lots of customers who they can clearly afford to buy business class, but they love the value of flying with points.
Well, that's how they can afford to fly business class, because they've been clever along the way with their money, right? Can we just talk about lessons for a little while?
Yeah.
People who are listening to this go, okay, how do I start this? What are the lessons you've learned along the way? What was the first hard lesson you learned about business?
So I came from a mindset of working in Macquarie Bank, and and to explain that, everyone's pretty clued on at Macquarie Bank. So you used to just ask people to do it once, and you never have to chase them.
Yeah,
they'll just mark it down, and then they'll get back to you. And then when I came out to do my own business, you're dealing with the wider public, and the knowledge and tenacity levels is a lot lower. So the first thing I learned is that it's a whole different world. So I was in a bubble. I was a complete bubble working with other people who smart and motivated. And then I come out to do my own business, and not everyone is the same.
Dealing with the public, humility and communication.
Communication, and people don't read. So I'm still very much of sort of materials. I'll give you the materials and be like, everything's all spelt out. But then I soon learned that people don't want to read anything. Hey, Steve, what do you do here? It's like, well, what did I send you? Like, I told you everything. They just wanted you to tell them how it's done. So then I quickly learned, well, actually people learn in all different ways, not just the visual, not written, the audio. So I'm like, oh, well, whichever way suits you, suits me.
Good. That's good. How do you deal with that when you've got this business and you suddenly got to communicate in hundreds of different ways. Did it frustrate you?
Oh, it was so frustrating. I was thinking, like, come on, I've sent you the email. It's got all the information
You
there.
kept all the emails. Do you like to read them?
No, not emails, no. But AI's helped a lot because you can get it now to sort of like rewrite your email in a different way.
Yeah, okay.
So AI has helped me a lot. But I think it's just about realizing that everyone's not the same as you. So the way you consume and you accept information, even the things that you know as like, this is so basic. Like, this is
Just because you know it.
Yeah, no one else knows.
No one else knows.
So that's probably the most important thing is no one knows anything and nor do they care.
That's what you got to go to market with to succeed. I think you're right. I think that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah. They don't care until, actually, I get my best customers after a customer has just flown economy and they go, hey, Steve.
I don't want to do that again.
Yes. Yeah.
I've known you for years and I just flew economy and that's it.
I'm done.
Get
me out of here.
Yeah. So that's why I have that billboard at the airport.
And what about lessons on growth? What have you learned along the way to grow the business?
I'm at this bit where I'm deliberately slow growth. So unlike most startups, you should grow. For me, I only want like 300 to 500 customers every year. Deliberately slow growth because that just means more work. If I'm growing fast, there's way more work to be done. So I'm just thinking deliberately, well, how much money do I need to make? What's my type of lifestyle? And I just basically make my business fund it.
So it's a lifestyle business.
It's a lifestyle business. Well, potentially could be sold, but it's designed as a lifestyle business because I worked with business owners that have sold businesses. So this is early on. I go, oh, well, you must have made it now. You sold your business.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, they start a brand new business. They're back to the start, just trying to sell their idea.
Steve, that's key,
I don't know who
right?
does that. It's crazy. Strange people.
That would be key and a huge mistake that so many startups make.
Such a mistake, yeah.
Like we're going to grow big and make heaps of money and like you'd
Like
be
you said,
stumbling.
some people just know nothing.
Yeah, right.
They keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just I love your positivity.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
great.
do. I mean, even when you've had these, I mean, we've tried to draw these challenges out of you. You haven't really seen them as challenges. You've just seen them as learnings.
Yeah.
And as much as we all want to learn from our challenges, you just don't even see them as challenges. You just go straight to learnings. There's a learning in itself, right?
I think it's just another day. Every day is different. Like today we do podcast, tomorrow is something else. Every day is a bit different. My days are all different. I just sort of feel like, oh, well, that's just another day. Like,
So nonchalant. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're sad that you're not a little more excited to do the podcast, but that's okay. Just another day.
We were hoping you'd be excited to come on. But, next time, maybe the second time when we get you back.
yeah, now I know what to expect.
So 10 years' time, what does this look like?
10 years' time, I want to help. So I'm just focused on Australian businesses. This bit of, if I had $1 for everyone that said you should grow overseas, I probably wouldn't need to work. But I'm just focused on just helping Australian businesses fly. Because number one, I live in Australia, so it's very convenient. Number two is, so I migrated from Hong Kong, so Australia took me on. It's like one of their own. And Australia is just a unique place that we are so far from the rest of the world that what's the point of helping Americans? They can just fly for cheap around the world anyway. There's no point helping Europeans. They can go anywhere they want for a fraction of the price. So Australia and New Zealand is the only place in the world where we are so far from everywhere that it either takes money, time or comfort. So with points, I'll solve all those three things for Australians. So I think these Australians are the best to benefit from what I do. Helping people in Europe save money, well, why should they need to save money? They can fly business class to anywhere.
But how's that different to you trying to decide to grow your business through Europe and America, like any other startup business would be looking at, sort of conceptually, how do we grow and how do we break down some borders?
Yeah, I just feel like I offer a service where it's sort of like privileged to be able to fly for cheap. And I just want to maintain that privilege for Australian customers.
You are fascinating in that respect. Quite fascinating.
Really
You're right.
unique.
Most founders want to drive, grow, take on the world. You're like, nah, we're doing the best job here. This is the best place to do it. Everyone else can get stuffed.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fascinating. It's quite fascinating.
It's a great name for a podcast.
Well,
Everyone else can get stuffed.
Yeah. We're going to come up with more podcast names this episode than any other name. Steve, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Like I said, what a fascinating insight you have to just the way you've created this business and the way you're looking to scale it and what you're happy with. It's very refreshing. And I don't know about you, Larry, but I love the positivity. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm just trying to live the life as if I have sold my business already. It's like, why come back to it? Just do it now.
I've found this chat absolutely fascinating for all of those reasons, to see your heart in it and that your heart is still in it from day one. Nothing's changed. There doesn't seem to be any more sort of blinding ambition or anything like that. It's just like having fun and putting the puzzle together every day.
Yeah,
when we get you back on in 10 years, if you still haven't gone overseas, we'll see. We'll just see. Let's not never say never.
There might be something more.
Never know.
Yeah,
I'm not coming back from my European office for this.
We'll fly you first class.
Yeah,
no
first
worries.
class. Okay, first class.
And you'll be drinking your whiskey
Yeah, of
on
course.
the plane for sure. Steve, thanks so much for coming on. We really enjoyed
Thank you.
it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
pleasure.
Steve.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
mate.
Thank you.